Wakanda forever. These words have become a rallying cry not just for fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe but for anyone inspired by the powerful symbol of Black Panther. But what makes Wakanda so unique, and why does it spark so much debate? Today on African Reads Comics, we are diving deep into the Black Panther mythos, exploring its portrayal of Africa, its critique of neocolonialism, and the utopian dream of Wakanda. Does Wakanda inspire, or does it oversimplify the complexities of African history and politics? Let's find out. Black Panther first appeared in 1966, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. It was the height of the civil rights movement in America, a time when the world was questioning racism, imperialism, and the future of African nations newly freed from colonial rule. T'Challa wasn't just another superhero. He was royalty, the king of Wakanda, an uncolonized African nation more advanced than any in the world. This was radical. In a world where African nations were often depicted as underdeveloped or dependent, Wakanda stood as a symbol of pride, power, and possibility. But while Black Panther broke barriers, it also introduced a complex conversation. What does it mean to depict a fictional Africa untouched by colonialism? And how does Wakanda, with all its utopian glory, relate to the real struggles of African nations? At the heart of Wakanda's power is Vibranium, a rare and nearly indestructible metal. In the comics, Vibranium powers Wakanda's technology, economy, and military strength. But Vibranium is more than just a plot device. It's a metaphor, the stand-in for Africa's natural resources like gold, diamonds, and oil. Here's where the story gets interesting. In the real world, these resources have been both a blessing and a curse. They've made African nations rich, but they've also made them targets for exploitation by multinational corporations and corrupt leaders. Wakanda flips this script. Unlike real African nations, Wakanda controls its resources completely. No foreign powers meddle in its affairs. No corporations profit off its wealth. This is a dream, a powerful what-if, of what Africa might have been without colonization. But is this dream realistic? Most African nations today struggle with what's known as the resource curse. Resources attract exploitation, corruption, and even war. Wakanda's absolute control over Vibranium feels empowering, but it sidesteps the systemic challenges that come with wealth in the real world. One of the most fascinating aspects of Wakanda is its isolationism. Wakanda exists as a world apart, untouched by colonialism, external wars, or globalization. It's this isolation that allows it to thrive. But let's ask a tough question: is isolationism the solution? In reality, African nations have often had to rely on each other to resist exploitation. Pan-African leaders like Kwame Nkrumah and Julius Nyerere fought for unity, believing that only through solidarity could Africa overcome the scars of colonization. Wakanda, on the other hand, hoards its vibranium, its technology, and its advancements. In Tony Hisicoat's Black Panther run, T'Challa begins to question this. Is it right for Wakanda to sit by while its neighbors suffer? Should Wakanda share its knowledge to help lift up the entire continent? These questions mirror real-world debates about African development and global inequality. And they reveal a tension at the heart of Wakanda's story: can a nation truly prosper alone? Wakanda is often called a utopia, but it doesn't reflect the political realities of Africa. In the real world, African nations are incredibly diverse, with hundreds of ethnic groups and languages. This diversity has often led to conflict, especially when colonial powers drew arbitrary borders, forcing rival groups to share nations. Wakanda, by contrast, is culturally and politically unified. It's ruled by a monarch who seems to face little internal dissent. This oversimplifies the challenges of governance in Africa, where democracy, ethnic representation, and corruption remain pressing issues. And then there's technology. Wakanda is light years ahead of the rest of the world, but real African nations face systemic barriers to technological growth, brain drain, underfunded education systems, and global inequalities that favor Western nations. Wakanda's success feels empowering, but it ignores the global forces that hold back many African nations. No discussion of Black Panther is complete without talking about Killmonger. In Ryan Coogler's 2018 film, Killmonger represents the African diaspora, those who were taken from the continent through slavery and now live in a world shaped by systemic racism. Killmonger's anger isn't just about personal loss, it's about Wakanda's isolation. He asks a powerful question: why did Wakanda stand by while black people around the world suffered? Killmonger's critique reflects a real tension between continental Africa and its diaspora. Should African nations prioritize their own development, or do they have a responsibility to support global black liberation movements? Chale's eventual decision to open Wakanda to the world represents a shift from isolationism to solidarity. But this move raises its own questions. Can Wakanda share its wealth without becoming a target for exploitation? Can it engage with the world without losing its sovereignty? Black Panther and Wakanda inspire because they imagine a world where Africa wins, where it thrives without the scars of colonization. But Wakanda is also a fantasy. It simplifies Africa's history, politics, and diversity, offering an empowering vision that doesn't fully address real-world complexities. Still, Wakanda serves a purpose. It sparks conversations about Africa's potential, its struggles, and its place in the world. It's not a mirror of reality, but a lens, the way to dream about what could be while grappling with what is. Thank you for joining me on African Reads Comics. What do you think? Is Wakanda a powerful vision, or does it oversimplify Africa's realities? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that matter.